everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie for those of you who don't know me, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how did I decide when and where to transfer to, the transition to a university, and then lastly I'm going to be answering your questions that you all had for me. So let's get to it! The first topic, which is how did I decide when and where I was going to transfer to. So when I started at my community college, College of the Sequoias, COS for short, I went there with the intentions of knowing that I was going to transfer. When I first went to my community college, I talked to a counselor where she sat me down and talked about the class schedule that I would have to take and different classes I would have to take in order to transfer to either a UC or a CSU. There are two different paths that you can take when wanting to transfer. One, you can do it specifically for UC, and the other one you can do for CSU. The first one is called IGETC, and what that stands for is for Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. And then there's the CSU GE, which is the California State University General Education. So with the IGETC, that's specific for UCs versus the CSU GE is specific for CSUs, but with the CSU GE, you can also transfer to UCs by fulfilling all of their requirements. But with the IGETC, you cannot transfer it to a CSU if you only complete the IGETC list because it's different. For example, the IGETC doesn't necessarily have all the general education requirements as a CSU has. So you have to be careful when looking at both of the papers and figuring out if you want the option to either transfer to both a UC and a CSU or if you only want to transfer to a UC. I completed both the IGETC and the CSU because they do overlap. I made sure both of them were complete so that I could transfer to either college. Whereas someone else that I know, he only completed the IGETC. He was only able to apply to UC schools because that's the curriculum that he finished with. And of course, this is specific to California schools because UCs are University of California, either Berkeley, Davis, Los Angeles, all those, and the CSUs are California State Universities. So if you are watching this and you are from another state, this will not apply to you, and I'm sorry. When you're trying to figure out which classes transfer to the university, different college that you want to go to, there is a website called assist.org. You basically input the college you want to go to and then input your community college, and you're able to see if those classes actually transfer to that university. When you are going to talk to your counselor, in my personal experience, I had a very bad time with my counselors. A lot of them did not give me all the information that I needed in order to know what classes to take and how to graduate. And another even put me down and suggested to me to take a different course of action and not to pursue a STEM degree, which was very discouraging. So be careful when you are talking to counselors and make sure you do your own research and take what they have to say lightly because they're not always correct. So after 2 years of my community college, I could have transferred, like I said in my last video that I will link up here, but I didn't, as many of you know, so I stayed an extra year. But you can transfer without getting your associate. So just make sure that you're aware of that and that you pay attention to what colleges you want to transfer to. So I applied to a handful of schools. I applied to a lot of the UCs and then a lot of the CSUs. I didn't apply to any out-of-state schools. Not that I remember anyways. I might have applied to like maybe one Michigan school. I don't remember. But for the most part, I only applied to UCs and CSUs in California. I did get accepted to a couple of UCs and a couple of CSUs. Not all of the schools that I applied to, but a few. Ultimately, what it came down to for me was how close I was going to be to my family and what type of support I was going to have in the area that I went to. And that is why I chose Sacramento State University, because my brother was going there and I would have that family support and I wouldn't be that far from home. Now on to the second topic, which is how was the transition to a university? The first thing you do is you attend an orientation at the school that you're going to. And it's actually really nice because they do separate freshmen from transfer students. And so when you go with other transfer students, and in my case they separated us by major, so I was with other chemistry majors during the orientation. At the orientation we had a fairly small group of chemistry majors, but what we did during orientation was they separated the parents from the students because you could bring your parents along with you. I was going to bring my mom and my brother, but unfortunately they were busy and they weren't able to make it, so instead I brought my boyfriend. And so he was like the parent, I guess. Another big thing that you do at orientation is you sign up for your classes. So first they do some opening speeches and they have an introduction, and then after that you get separated and you guys go on campus tours, and the parents do other stuff. I think they go on their own tour of the campus, and then they also provide you lunch. So then at lunch you meet back with your parents and all the other students who are doing orientation that same day. And then after lunch is when you go and you register for classes. Prior to going to orientation, I already had an idea of what classes I was going to sign up for because I had did my own research, because I didn't want to go show up the day of and then be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to take, and then be scrounging around trying to figure it out. So I made sure that I was prepared so that I could just go in, log into the computer, input all the classes that I wanted, and then sign up right then and there. So during the signing up for classes part, they actually walk you through the system, the Sac State or whatever school you're going to. They walk you through the system and basically teach you how to register for your classes and how to add it to like your cart and just the whole process of doing that. And then once there's like a specific time where you're allowed to finally sign up for your classes, you basically look at all the classes. What they did for us was they gave us a folder filled with the course list and everything that we needed to take for one being a transfer student, because we still had to take, there was 3 mandatory classes that you have to take as a transfer student, and one is a writing intensive course, another is a race and ethnicity course, and then the third one is a type of humanities, I think. They basically give you papers that break down all of that information for you so you know exactly what you need to take in order to graduate. And during this time, we had orientation leaders who are just other students at Sacramento State. So they give you advice and they also help you pick classes. But I didn't really trust them personally, just because they were just other students. None of them were the same major as I was going to be, which is biochemistry, and so I didn't really trust what they were telling me, so I just mainly went based off my own research and the class list. When the time came to finally register for my classes and sign up, I actually had a really bad experience, and a lot of the other people I was with also had the same experience. And what happened was, since we were transfer students, our transcripts had not completely been verified yet, and they were not in the system. So in order to take some classes, you had to have prereqs that I did at my community college, but it wasn't recognized in the system yet. So I literally had to go to each individual department that I was trying to sign up for classes for, which is like the chemistry department, the physics department, the biology department. I had to go to each one of those departments in order for them to manually input me into the class that I wanted. And this actually really did suck, because we were in a different building that was not building of the chemistry and biology and physics department. So I had to literally, they just told us like, okay, you just have to go find these departments basically and go tell them what's happening so that they can fix it for you. And I am very, very bad with directions, and especially that was my first time at the campus, so I did not remember where any of these buildings were that I had to go to. Honestly, thank goodness that I was with my boyfriend, because he remembered where those buildings were and he helped me find each and every different department that I had to go to. And if it was not for him, I would have been so lost and it would have taken me forever to figure out all of that stuff. Oh my gosh, it was a disaster. On to topic number 3, which is answering your questions. Is a university harder than a community college? No, I really don't think so. Like I said in my last video as well, I think that my community college was way harder than my university. How do you get involved and find different resources? So what my college had at Sacramento State is, in the beginning of the semester, they had about 2 weeks where all of the clubs and different resources would set up tables and would basically advertise their club and the resources that they have. I recommend, if you want to get involved and figure out what different clubs the campus has to offer, that would be the time to do it. One thing I did to get involved in different clubs was by just walking around the science buildings that we have. They have bulletins on the sides of the hallways that usually have posters of different club meetings that are happening. So definitely sign up for clubs so that you can meet new people and get involved. How do you meet other transfer students? One way is during orientation, because I was with other transfer students, especially that were in my major, so I ended up having classes with a couple of those people. Another way to meet transfer students is to find the Transfer Resource Center. You might have to look this up online. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't know if every university has this, but I know for sure Sacramento State does, and I would definitely look into it at your university that you're going to. I personally did not find out about this resource center until basically I was almost graduated, but it has a lot of resources for transfer students specifically, and I thought that was really cool, especially it was kind of like a little club where you could meet other transfer students. Can transfer students get involved in research? Yes, you can, 100%. I got involved in research the first semester that I transferred, and I did through the rest of my time at my university. Did you live on or off campus, and why? Personally, I lived off of campus for a couple of reasons. The main reasons were, well, number one, my brother had already transferred there, so he was already living in an apartment, so I just moved in with him when I transferred. And then number two, if I had the choice, I would not have lived on campus because I have 4 animals. I did have 3, but then I got a 4th one, so I have 4 animals, so I would not have left them at home. I loved living with my animals, and I would have been so sad if I wasn't able to have my animals with me. That is another really important reason why I lived off campus. But I lived very close to the campus. It was only like 3 miles away, so it was a very easy bike ride to get to campus. So that is all the questions. That is it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If this was at all helpful for you, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and comment down below if you have any other questions or if you want to see any other specific videos. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Until next week, bye!